will never pass for a perfect bride or a perfect daughter. Can it be? I'm not meant to play this part. Now I see that if I were truly to be myself, I would break my family's heart. Who is that girl I see staring straight back at me? Why is my reflection someone I don't know? Somehow I cannot hide who I am, though I've tried. When will my reflection show who I am inside? When will my reflection show who I am inside?
Hello, this is Confessions of a Special Needs Mom, and I'm Gina Waterman, your host. And thank you for joining us. We are meeting today at the intersection of disability, grief, and faith. And if you've been with me, you know that we are going to talk about various topics, but really focusing in and honing in on taking care of yourselves as caregivers to individuals with special needs, whether it be autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, DIRC 1A, any other disability, and or you might be straddling, taking care of a son or daughter with a disability and also an aging parent, perhaps, that's facing dementia or has dementia. So thank you for joining us. And again, I'm speaking to caregivers all around, everywhere, beyond North Texas. Fishbowl Radio Network broadcasts beyond North Texas, beyond the states. And thank you for the listeners who are joining us from. I have Germany, Canada, Finland, India, and a couple of friends from Poland. So today we are celebrating a couple different things, and I want to talk about it, and just, you might see from my props here, I want to wish a Happy New Year, Chinese Happy New Year, to my friends and family that are celebrating that. Let me just briefly say that this is a significant holiday for many reasons, but we have people in our family and friends, my closest friend, one of my friends from Houston, Diana, shout out to her, is celebrating with her family. But my roots with Chinese New Year go back to Jackson Heights and being a kid, age 5. My godfather, who my dad met when we moved to New York City, Kai, who lives now in North Carolina, he was the first one to really introduce me to that holiday, as well as the traditions and culture. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and just give him a shout out, as well as his kids that are listening. One of them still lives out in Long Island. The other one is in North Carolina with him. So Richie and Dana, thank you. And I want to acknowledge Vivian, my godmother, who passed away from breast cancer when I was a teenager. And so before we start my show, every time I start my show, I light the candle in honor of those that we've lost. And if you're grieving something today, I'm lighting this for you as well. And for us as special needs parents, we might be grieving the unmet hopes, dreams, and expectations of our children, and that which we thought was going to happen and took a little bit of a turn, right? So take a breath and I just want to acknowledge that. So my show today is about reflection, embracing the season. I'm calling it. And with Chinese New Year, it's a chance to pause, reflect, and shed. This is the year of the horse, powerful, powerful animal, and we are shedding what doesn't work for us anymore, what may not serve us anymore. And it's a perfect time to talk about again. We talked about this at the beginning of the calendar year and our new year after the holidays, but perfect time for us as caregivers to talk about what is working for you and what is not working anymore. And let's turn the page. So this is another reminder, another opportunity for you. If you haven't done that yet, and I know our lives are extremely busy. I had an extremely busy weekend myself with my son being off, but also primarily it was a full weekend of joy and love and Valentine's Day dances and parties and opportunities for him to enjoy himself. And it was wonderful. But with that comes, as a caregiver and primary parent taking care of him there and here and there comes, the energy, right? The reserves. So that's what I wanted to focus on today and talk about is taking care of yourself and reflecting on who are you right now without the lens of autism or Down syndrome. Who do you want to be this year? How do you want to show up? Whether that's be serving others, showing up for yourself and your health. We've talked about your physical, emotional, spiritual health, and those are the things that I discuss here on this show. I don't take this lightly if you've been with me the whole time. And if you're new to this show, I encourage you to look back at the first 3 episodes. I've tried to encapsulate what brought me to this work because I am a grief recovery specialist. That is what I'm doing. And that basically means I take care of and help people deal with their emotional pain. So there were several things that brought me here, and I had accumulated grief, and it was a journey, and it's still a journey, but I had all of that happen before I had my son. And then, of course, he came early by 2 months, and we had this thing called autism propped in our laps when he was just 2 years old. We knew before then, but the typical time frame is 2 years old for that kind of a diagnosis. So I don't want you to just think about what you want to be this year as far as professionally and so on, but I want you to think about how can you show up for yourselves and how can you do better for yourself as far as, again, physically, spiritually, emotionally. And then I'm going to throw something new out there for our listeners. And as a caregiver, I want you to savor your child's uniqueness. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to take a break here. I was going to start off with the poem, and I will. I will get to that. As I said, this weekend was extremely full, and it was full of good things. But it was also a reminder to me, and I had a moment this morning, on the phone with a friend, talking about just various things. But this is a friend of mine who's serving as my, I don't know, advisory board, if you will, on this show. And this is an individual he has children, but without a child with special needs. And we were just chatting about different things. And I kind of welled up and teared up. And I guess I needed that today. And I'm telling you this and starting the show off with this again, because I don't want you to shy away from, as we typically do, right? In our program, we talk about those coping skills and what we do and what we've learned and how people are afraid to show their emotions. And if you're crying, you immediately stop, right? Or, oh, I don't want to get sad, or I don't want to cry in front of you, or whatever it is, right? And that goes for both men and women. I think women are used to showing their emotions and dealing with that, but men, it's okay to be sad and to talk about things. I want to normalize this as grief recovery specialists, and our work is evidence-based. We talk a lot about this. How different the world would be if we could be honest with each other, stop putting on the mask constantly, and say, you know what? Yeah, I'm going through this. I'm struggling right now. Or, hey, I feel this way, knowing that it's fully going to pass. I'm not talking about someone who's in a state of severe depression or someone who is in crisis. We're not talking about that. And if you are in that state, please reach out and get help immediately. But that is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about people who are dealing with some tough things, and it's okay to show that you have emotions around that. That is being human. So what our world would be like if we could express that and tears could flow as freely as laughter, right? So as I was thinking about the show and embracing the season, I wrote down here Valentine's Day, the fullness of it, but also embracing my season. And my son's 21. He has autism, but this is not the only defining factor of his life. He's a full human being with desires, wants, needs, and just like all of us, he wants to be seen, heard, and loved, essentially. It's very simple. And so I try to make sure that within reason, we were doing as much as possible to include him in these things this weekend. So I just wrote down, the dances. He had really parties since Wednesday. He's living his best life, guys. I have to say. Since Wednesday of last week, there were dances at school. There was they have I mentioned to you he's in a program he's graduating from, but he is 21, so it's a vocational program at the Notre Dame School of Dallas, and they have over 21 day have students that they got together with on Friday, and they did a dance at their location, and it was wonderful, just beautiful, right? He enjoyed himself doing that. That was during school. And then on Saturday, we had another Valentine's Day dance for him and his friends, again, all with intellectual disabilities. A few of them siblings that came that, wanted to dance as well. But we had a DJ. We had that at one of our local churches that I belong partners with. I guess I could say it. It's out there in public. It's the Flower Mound United Methodist Church. And thank you so much to those people that attend there and their congregation, because they actually did all the decorations for us. And I say us as parents, I'm not as parents and a person that goes to a lot of these events. It was amazing. So check them out, ibelong.art, if you want to look at some of those pictures, and we have some video clips of that. But it was wonderful. It was a chance for him again, and I want to remind you, if you have a child, I don't care what age they are, that is on the spectrum or has an intellectual developmental disability, get them to these things, please. I know you might have some hesitancy about whether they can handle it or whether they can, I don't know, if they have, because all of our children, most of our children, especially on the spectrum, have had sensory issues throughout their life. And when they're little, it's definitely an issue. But different things that may hold you back from taking them to places. And I don't want you to do that anymore because our kids need this. They need the connection, right? Just as much as we do. They need the connectivity. They need they need to be who they are. So this dance allowed them an opportunity to fully engage and fully be themselves, and nobody's correcting them, and there's no therapy happening. This is just them being kids and young adults. And what a beautiful thing that is. And what a beautiful way to remind us that as we're going into the new year, but we're also reflecting, and today's Fat Tuesday, day before Ash Wednesday, leading up to Easter as Christians, and Ramadan starts tomorrow, a day to remember and a weekend to remember, wow, my son, my daughter, they're just like everyone else. And they are children of God. They are built how they are built. Okay, we're not going to try and fix them. We're not going to treat them as an experiment, if you will. Sorry, but there are times when I felt on this journey that some moms or dads were trying to fix their kids and didn't see them as children at that point. It was more of they were just doing things to fix them. Let me back up. I'm going kind of diverting here. But the reason I bring myself to that is because I got emotional, and I'm getting emotional now because the last thing we did for the weekend was attend another dance which was not designed for him, but he was an adult, and I decided to bring him along as my date. And if you've been watching my show and you saw my post this weekend, I haven't posted a lot of pictures. I'm not going to do that for privacy reasons. But shout out to Buzzbridge Farms. They're doing amazing work, and they had a disco party this weekend. If you haven't checked them out, please do on my page. I'll be putting some more information on this again. If you haven't donated, please do. This is going to benefit adults with disabilities. But their party was a chance for moms and dads and anybody, friends could go to celebrate and raise funds for our adults with disabilities. Because as we said on this show again, over and over again, not just in Texas, but in Texas it's a huge just a huge thing staring at us all the time. How we are at the bottom of the list for services. We are at the bottom of the list education-wise, and special ed is just, you know the news. I don't have to tell you. If you're listening to my program, you know. There are not a lot of opportunities for our kids and young adults to do anything, to do stuff. Whether, and I'm not just talking recreation, but to go to things and to be part of and to belong to something and feel a sense of belonging. And that includes their whole life, not just school, guys. We're talking outside of school and what happens after high school and what happens in the evening hours and in the weekend hours. So that's why I'm telling you this and reminding you. It's critical and important sense of community, sense of belonging to get your kids to these things. So back to my story that I shared with my friend. I said, you saw, I was busy. He's like, I don't know how you get to all this stuff. I said, well, this was really important for me because, yeah, it's taking some of my time. But you know what? He loves music. He loves dancing just as much as I do. I'm like a music freak. You know me. And I tie my music. I try to with programming in this show. I hope you're enjoying it, to the message and to the grief. But they were like, you wouldn't believe how many people, I told them, how many people stopped and stopped me at that dance and at that party. This was in a loud environment, by the way. Not all kids can handle this, not even adults, some of them, because it was pretty loud. It was a disco party, right? So tons of music. But before everything got started, we were having dinner, just some bites, and people were doing the raffles and just mingling, and I was reconnecting with some moms I hadn't seen in decades. So this was fun for me, but it was fun for him as well, and people stopped by to say hello, but they said, one mom actually stopped me on the dance floor and said, I love how you take your son with you everywhere. And I stopped and I said, thank you. But I was just like taken aback because, of course, I'm going to take him. What am I going to do? Leave him at home for things like this? And I don't think people realize how old he is. So there's that. If you know me, you know what I'm going to say with that. I'm going to go on. I had another person say, oh, how sweet he is. He's such a sweetheart. He's giving me hugs and yada, yada. Okay. And then at one point, before it really got loud, it was during dinner, I said, we had the drink tickets, and I said, you want to go over? And please don't get too excited here. He is 21. For his birthday, we decided and opted, we're going to have, the birthday party, but we're going to have a small dinner, and we're going to acknowledge he's 21. He can have a drink now. And so we did we gave him a choice, a glass of beer or a glass of wine, and said, drink this very slowly. But we did that in a controlled environment when he turned 21. Well, anyway, we're at this event. We're at the bar, and they gave us drink tickets. I said, well, there's a list of drinks on this thing that says we can go up to the bar and order. And on there was mocktails, of course. So I said, choose one of these. And he did. And then I said, are you okay for going up? Here's what you do. Here's the tickets. Tell him what you want. He says, I want a Coke Zero, too. I said, okay. Go get just to 2, because that's how much you can handle, bring it back physically. And then we'll go get Mom another one after that. So I gave him the tickets by himself. All right. And people, I could sell them. I could feel the eyeballs on me and him thinking like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? Is she going to really let him go and do this? But my son is capable of doing this. So are your kids, if you let them and guide them. I didn't do this just by accident. Okay. We've coached him. So I let him go by himself. And I actually said, do you need help from Mommy? He said, no. I said, okay. So he went off with his, And he went up to the bar, and I could tell, like, I wasn't near it enough, but I could tell the guy asking him a couple questions. And they did their exchange, and that was it. He got his Coke Zero and his mocktail with what I don't remember what it was. It was like with a cherry in it. And he toddled on back, happy as a clam. And I have down here on my notes, yes, he can, with little hand holding from me. So reason I'm bringing this up again is our kids can do stuff. You just have to let them and allow them a little space and a little bit, rein it out and rein it back in again when necessary. Because, boy, he had fun. And he knows. And he can do it. And I take him on things. I'm bringing it up because it back to the reflection and this whole idea of reflection and where you are in life right now and what you want to shed and what's not working for you anymore. Our kids are growing up, guys. And most of my listeners, a fair amount of them, some of you are just checking us out to check us out. And I welcome you to the table. Thank you for coming. But let me know what you're in the comments that you're here. But most of my listeners have older kids, and they're past high school. They are not young kids anymore. They're adults. And guys, they want what regular adults want. And I know this is going to make you uncomfortable, but this is the reality. 21-year-old, he might be delayed and more emotionally immature than most 21-year-olds, right? Because of his autism. But he still wants what everybody else wants. He wants to be seen, heard, loved, and he wants a girlfriend, and he wants to have sex, and he wants to do this, and he wants to do that. Enough said, right? So just a reminder, that's what's happening. So we need a shift as caregivers, as moms. I'm talking to the moms. I'm one myself, so I can only speak to that. We had Derek here last week talking with the point of view of a dad. He's got kids himself. He knows. Like we had a good laugh and chuckle about all these different things going on, and his kids are in college. My son's college age. So yeah, we talk about these things. I want to just open it up there and just leave you with that to think about. And you don't have to share it with anyone, but if you want to share it with your best, closest friends, that's a safe spot, right? Don't share this on Facebook just to the general groups. They're great for socializing and getting some stuff out there, but really choose who you tend to share this with. And I'm talking about the things that you plan on taking on this year that are going to be shifting your way of dealing with and essentially being with your son or daughter. And I'm talking primarily to the parents here. I know some of your grandparents, siblings that are taking care of your loved ones, but I'm talking primarily from the parent perspective. How will you show up this year? How are you going to savor your child's uniqueness? How are you going to allow them some space to be who they are and stop trying to change them? Okay. So I hope that gives you something to think about, because it really did for me, especially when someone who is an outie, so to speak, who doesn't have a child with special needs, that's listening to my show and giving me his perspective. And again, he's a father. He's a parent as well. Understanding that, hey, other people are hearing this, and other people have some ideas about this. And he knows Kenneth. He's seen him out in public, but he's seen him when he was younger. We don't see them as often because they live 1,500 miles away. But again, he's seeing the posts, he's seeing what he does, and it's just kind of enlightening and a great reminder for me that, yeah, I need to do some things differently too, even though I think I'm doing a pretty good job. But I can do some things differently as well. And that brings us to our poem. Let's take a little break here and look at, it's called Low Energy, and it's by Clay Brantley. It's from my Retreat House book titled House of Connection. If you're in the Dallas area, I highly recommend the Retreat House Spirituality Center. It is retreathousecommunity.org. I'll share this after the show as well, where you can find them. But they are in Richardson, and fantastic group of people. Thank you, Karen, if you're listening. Love you guys. I'm going to read this, and this kind of ties into what I was talking about. And I hope you'll find some pieces that speak to you as well. It's called Low Energy. I wander through the morning, low energy and little desire to do much. I wonder when lunch is and if I will get an afternoon nap. This is not how I want to feel. I want to feel energy, excitement. I want to focus on the fullness of the present moment, to breathe deeply of the life that is before me. But this tiredness keeps pulling me away from where I am. Why won't this tiredness go away? A nap doesn't even seem to help. What if I flip the script around my tiredness and low energy that I have been practicing for so many years? Instead of wanting this low energy, tiredness to go away, what if I welcomed it, honored it, loved it? Deep breath. Heart space. Welcome tiredness. Is this really going to work? Deep breath. Heart space. Welcome low energy. You are a part of me. I no longer ignore you or send you away. I welcome you. I feel you in my head that feels foggy. I feel you throughout my body that wants to lie down. I see you. Welcome. Deep breath. Heart space. Holding space for tiredness, low energy, honoring, loving, welcome. I see that you are part of me, but not all of me. I hear that I need to listen to you, that you have much to teach me, about my life, my time, my priorities, about what drains me and what enlivens me. As I sit in this moment, breathing, present in my heart space, I have the infinity capacity to welcome you. Wow. I feel some powerful energy, some real focus, as I am not struggling to send you away, but I am welcoming you home, running out to greet you with a kiss and a royal robe. I feel this deep connection to you and to all parts of me. I want you to hear, I love you. What spoke to you today? Where are you at with the low energy? I shared with you how tired I was after this weekend. But I prioritized these things. I wanted them to happen. I wanted to give to my son and to his friends and to our family friends that are like family. And we even, I didn't even mention, but we even additionally went to a new spot, new for us, in Rowlett before the disco party. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can fit this in. I don't know if I'm going to have enough energy. But we did it. An art show at the United Methodist Church there, which is proudly displaying some of the art from the I Belong artists. And my son is one of them. So I was very happy with that. And he wanted to go. And I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's fit it in somehow. Reflection. Pausing. We have moments of low energy. Deep breath. And welcoming that. Honoring it. I want you to also honor it by taking that nap. I know you're going to say, oh, it's crazy. I can't do it. I don't have time. I don't know what you're talking about. My life is not like that, Gina. I'm not at home. I know. A lot of you work from home. Many of you have to be at an office space. You have long days. And what do we do the minute? I do it myself. The minute my son's on that bus at 7:10, I'm checking my emails, or I'm looking at my schedule for the day, or I'm running to the next thing, or you're trying to fit in your fitness class, you're this, you're that, the other, and work, and then pick up by 3:30, whatever it is for you. And then maybe have another chapter of work after that. So it's just life, guys. I'm not saying I'm doing it perfectly, and I don't expect you to either, but I want you to make sure you're prioritizing yourself in the midst of all that. And that's why I'm coming to you every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you're listening to us for the first time, this is Confessions of a Special Needs Mom, and I'm Gina Waterman. And I I am meeting you at the intersection of disability, grief, and faith, where we were talking about taking care of yourself, your emotional, physical, and spiritual health. And that includes, hopefully, at some point, going through the Grief Recovery Handbook and taking some time for yourself to actually work through your grief. What do I mean by grief? When we talk about us as parents and caregivers, those unmet hopes, dreams, expectations, and all the things that's wrapped up in that. Because you're going to find, the Institute has discovered, most people come to our program, and I myself included, I'm no different. We come with an average of 6 or 7 losses that we haven't dealt with in our lifetime. And I just happened to be in close to 50 when I took this program. Whatever age you come to it with, you have some stuff to deal with. And that might be holding you back from living a more full life, and also being able to, ultimately take care of your son or daughter in a more present, full way. And you can only do that by doing the personal work, doing the internal work on yourselves. It's critical. I can't stress it enough. I wouldn't be here talking to you about this stuff if I didn't believe in it. And also, it had an incredible effect on me and everyone around me. And it just filters through, right? Because grief does affect, even though you might think of it only in terms of death and the major things, death, divorce, pet loss, the ones that are tangible. But there are intangible losses to your career, losing a job, your health. Maybe your health is taking you out of commission for a while. I've had that also happen unexpectedly with the car accident, the head-on collision 22 years ago. All those things. I didn't know how to handle that. Nobody knew how to handle that. We just did what we could do and worked through it, but it was horrible. So I don't want that for you. I don't want you to be in that spot of, wow, I don't know how to manage this. I don't know what to do. There's things you can do. The grief recovery method is one of them. If you have a therapist that you're working with already, I would introduce you to that and introduce them to it. If they haven't, it's not part of their wheelhouse or their toolkit, it's extremely valuable, and it is evidence-based. We have a When Children Grieve book, which is also available on their site as well as Amazon, griefrecoverymethod.com. You'll find me there. If you're listening outside of the Dallas, Texas area, there's a spot down at the bottom of the page. Just scroll down, type in where you're at, state, country, zip code, wherever, and it'll pop up grief recovery specialists that are working in your area. And a lot of us do this by Zoom now, the advanced recovery specialists, so we are able to deliver it by remotely. So just want to say that. Okay, I'm going to take a break now here, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about meeting your kids where they're at and encouraging you to, again, include them in the traditions. So whether you're celebrating Chinese New Year or you're going to church tomorrow to the Ash Wednesday services, which we will be going probably just once this year. But my son, as part of their school, they have a church that's actually adjacent to their building. And so they do religious studies and do mass at that church. So I'll be going to that in the morning with him, and our own church, Wilshire, has a couple different services for receiving ashes. So we'll be doing that as well. And that's been just a tradition, again, that I've included him in. And I encourage you to do the same with your kids, whatever it is for you. If you're Catholic, Lutheran, Jewish, Muslim, whatever your faith is, honor those traditions and your faith, and build that in with your children and with the ones with disabilities. Why exclude them? We need to include them in that. Wherever they're at, meet them where they're at with that. So I hope you'll do that, and I hope you'll take that with you today. If anything, that's what we're talking about, is embracing that, embracing the season you're in, and allowing your kids to experience life to the fullest. Because why else? What else do we need to do? I mean, that's life, right? So Okay. I think we'll take a break here, Angelo, and then we'll come back. Welcome back. This is Gina Waterman. I'm your host of Confessions of a Special Needs Mom. And we are here at meeting at the intersection of disability, grief, and faith. So we talked a lot today about embracing the season. Happy Chinese New Year to those that are celebrating. It's a chance to pause, reflect, and shed what's not working for us anymore. And I talked to you a lot about reflections of yourself and as a caregiver, who you are right now, and looking at what you want to do this coming year. And one of those things that I hope you'll put on the top of the burner, we always put ourselves on the back burner. Excuse me. One of the things I want you to do is put yourself at the front and take care of your emotional health. I'm a grief recovery specialist. If you haven't seen our show before, I hope you'll come back and join us. And also check out griefrecoverymethod.com. We are here to help support you and help you through getting to the other side. Most people say, you just need to let go. You just need to let go. They don't teach you. Nobody teaches us how to do this. But the Grief Recovery Method is an evidence-based program which does walk you step by step. We are trained in walking you step by step. It's a very goal-oriented thing. We have 7 weeks on average where we walk you through the method. And at the end of that, you are saying goodbye to the pain. Not to the person, if it is a loved one that you've lost. I myself have lost my entire family unit, my birth family unit, my mom, dad, and brother at very early ages. It's just me now. I am an only child by circumstance. My brother was 5 years older than me. He would have been in his 60s this year. And my son never got to meet Uncle Gary. But again, we talk about him. We honor him on those anniversaries and the birthdays. And I show him pictures and we talk about it. He was very close to my father, Grandpa Perales. So we talk about that and share that. And then my mother didn't get to know him as well. But I'm mentioning this because if you are in that situation where you have lost your loved ones and your children were part of that, honor it. Don't be afraid. Honor them. Speak their name. Speak their name. Right? They loved you. You loved them. Their memory is still alive. You don't need to, we're not saying goodbye to that, to the good stuff. We want to retain that. But we want to, say goodbye to the pain, to the stuff that caused us terrible pain and agony, right? I'm just here to remind you that it's okay. And it's okay to feel, and it's okay to well up with emotion, because they are part of the tapestry of your life. And that's divine. They're part of the tapestry of your life. They're part of your son or daughter's tapestry. And one day, I know you don't want to think about this, but we'll talk about this on other shows in the future. I hope to get there. As I'm building up my library, I'm going to touch on several topics that may be not so popular, but I feel very compelled to bring you because of the work I do and because of the connections that I have. One day, you're not going to be here, and your son or daughter will be grieving you and the loss of you. So that's normal, and it is the cycle of life, and I don't want you to run away from that. I want you to embrace the time you have with them, and I want you to embrace it on a big way this year in 2026. And what better way to do that than, again, to honor them, their uniqueness, love them, cherish them. Yes, we want them to have better quality of life. Yes, we want them to have friends and activities and things to do beyond school. Yes, we want them to have all of that and a sense of connection and belonging and community, because God created us to live in community. And I want that for you as well. So if you don't have that, please reach out. Reach out to us. Reach out to me. movingpastgrief@gmail.com. Dallas, Fort Worth, and Texas, we have a very tight and very vast connection of support groups and autism, Down syndrome guild connection groups there. We have a lot of that here, so I feel blessed that we do. But if you're still searching for something and you just haven't found the right fit, because some of these groups on Facebook can be a little cliquey, I got to be honest with you. And that's okay. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. If you're listening and you have an older kid, you've been in them. But I want you to find it, and I want you to also consider, as part of, again, reminder about our faith, whatever it is for you, find your tribe, and don't be afraid to take them to church. If something did happen, I'm sorry. I know some of you have shared with me personally, privately, that you don't go to church anymore because something happened, or you didn't feel comfortable, or other people weren't welcoming. I am blessed that our church is a very welcoming place, and I invite you to come to ours if you'd like to. But if you're not, we're a progressive Baptist church. Wilshire is progressive. But if you have some other church that you want to connect with, or I encourage you to try and do. We don't know unless we try. That's what I always say. And especially with our kids. We don't know unless you try. Open up to them. Let them in. Let the staff in. The ministry staff want to help you. They do. I promise you. That's what they're there for. So utilize the help. Okay, I'm going to end it there. And I appreciate everybody coming back with me. Next week, we'll continue on this Embracing the Season theme. I like it. And I would like, if you have any ideas for the show, and or if you want to comment on what we talked about today and share some of your own stuff, please call me, email me, reach out to me, movingpastgrief@gmail.com. And if you'd like to be a guest on this show, I welcome that. I'm lining up some people. We have 2 people on the schedule, one in April and one in May. Both are professionals that are going to share with us. One is a divorce coach. The other is a nutritionist that has helped our community tremendously, and we've used her for decades. Faye Elahi is coming on this show. I can't wait. So if you have anything like that, let me know. And I'll see you next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Central. This is Confessions of a Special Needs Mom.